Afternoon, everybody. Happy April the 1st, the Maize and Blue Review. We're ready to get things underway. We're here weekdays at 1 o'clock, getting to a little bit late today. We're part of Rivals.com. We talk about the latest in Michigan sports. And if you know anything about Michigan sports, you know tomorrow is a big-time event for the Wolverines, as it is the, I put it in air quotes, annual spring game, because they have spring practices annually. They have a spring game semi-annually. They didn't have one last year, but here they are, and they will have one coming up tomorrow. That's why I have a little bit of pep in my step. You probably do in yours as well if you're a Michigan fan and football fan, just getting ready for some action. You haven't seen the Wolverines in action since when? New Year's Eve. So, and here we are, April the 1st. You can kind of count it up. April the 1st. That means that we started here, the Maize and Blue Review, on November the 1st. And now, so we're 5 months in. And so we're happy about that. We're glad that if you have signed up, if you're considering it, if you're with us here on the podcast, the digital cast, any of that, thank you very much. Well, today we'll talk a lot about that spring game tomorrow, what to expect, what to look for, and all of those different things. I think about myself. The first spring game was the spring of 1995. It was 94, 95. Yeah, 95. I got to go up into the press box for the first time. We were local broadcasting the spring game. And I can remember head coach Gary Moeller coming into the broadcast booth, and it's like, "What's up, coach?" "Oh, Gary, I think it was an overcast, even maybe a misty day there in 95 for the spring game. But as somebody who is just breaking in, if you could have asked me, or if you did ask me back when I was 10 years old, 15 years old, 20 years old, what I wanted to do, I said, I want to cover Michigan football. And there I was at the spring game covering Michigan football. So it was exciting. And Gary would not be around for that 95 season. Lloyd Carr would take over for Gary in July, August, or maybe a little bit before. I'm going to say August. And Lloyd took over as the interim head coach, was the head coach for his first game, that Pigskin Classic in 95. A very hot game, Michigan and Virginia. Carr winning that game in the last second with Mercury Hayes pulling in the touchdown from Scott Dreisbach. I remember being on the Michigan sideline right at about the 20, right about where the line of scrimmage was. Maybe the line of scrimmage was 15, 20 yards. I could look back. Maybe it was even a little bit further. But that's where I was watching that touchdown. And a guy that was working with me at the time went over there and came up to me after the game and had a towel and said, hey, guess what this is? And I didn't have to guess. It was a football. He showed me a football. I'm like, oh, you got a football? He's like, yeah, this is the football. I was right down in the corner after Hayes caught the touchdown, and I've got the football, the game-winning football. And he ended up getting that ball to Lloyd Carr. But I think there were some thoughts from Bill S., who collected that football, about keeping it maybe for a minute. But he decided to give it to Carr, and as you get a Hall of Fame coach, there's able to get that football to him. That was a good job there by Bill. All right. Spring memories. You go down, and what happens? You get spring football, and you expect a game, and the doors are going to open up, and you'll see the guys stretching down there, going through different drills there. But there is going to be a game this time around, and that'll be fun for the people that get down there. Let's go through it a little bit and what to expect rather than me just going back down memory lane and telling you about my spring game memories here. Here's a little preview for you. One thing you want to I say look smart. You want your conversation piece when you're running into people down there and talking to Michigan fans. You can always say it's always great. The spring game's always great because Michigan always wins. You can come away with a Michigan victory. You're 100% guaranteed that the maize and blue are going to come out victorious. So that's always good when you're down there. And it's one of those things you only get to say during the spring game that it's a guaranteed Michigan win. The other thing, and this is why, here's a little tip for you to go out there and get that roster. Print yourself out a roster like I did yesterday. You can bring that hard copy with you, or you can do it like I did, and then you take the pictures. Like, you're not guaranteed to be able to, get online. So you can just say, I'll just pull up the roster on my phone. Well, good luck with that. I mean, there's a possibility that you could do that. But there's also the possibility that it might have some trouble doing that. So if you want to make sure, because at some point, as if you look to number 5 on this list, you'll say, who dat? At some point, you're going to be looking, you're going to say, I don't know who that is. I put in my notes here, I've got the team roster I took some pictures of, so I'll just be able to zip right through pretty quick if I'm not familiar with a number and be able to find out about who dat. But you got a lot of freshmen that are in for spring. That's what the IFS stands for there in number 2. 13 true freshmen in the 22 class, including just looking here, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 on the offensive side. Both quarterbacks, Denegal and Orji, are in for spring. All 3 wide receivers, Tyler Morris, Amorian Walker, and Darius Clemens, all in for spring. Colston Loveland, the tight end, IFS in for spring, and so is Connor Jones on the offensive line. On the defense, Mason Graham and Derek Moore, defensive tackle, and Graham Moore, the outside linebacker, defensive end, who's been mentioned a few times. On the Wolverine Den by none other than Josh Henschke, our publisher, about that he has turned some heads. Derek Moore, I should say that Jim Scarcelli also was down at practice, mentioned that he could see Derek Moore. You can see the talent there. He would be one to keep an eye on when you're thinking about all right, who should I look for? Derek Moore would be one. Will Johnson, Miles Pollard. Wait, Micah Pollard just had Miles Pollard, and then Keon Sapp are the defensive guys that are out there, the true freshmen that are lining up. And you say who's lining up where. I think on the defensive side, you'll look to the offense and you'll look pretty quick when you see the left tackle 76 and you see the right tackle Trente Jones. I guess I don't know what number Trente Jones was. Remember, he was wearing 80 when he came in those Buffalo packages last year. Let's see if I can find it off the jump here. He's 53, so maybe going back to the old 53. So when you feed 53 on the right side, 76 on the left side, and Zinter there at right guard, and Keegan 77 and 65 with the center, Aluskan Olowatimi, working with those guys. And here's another 55 double nickels there in the middle of 55. That's when it'll be the first team offensive line. And then you look to see maybe here's somebody like me, you might jot down who's running with that second team offensive line. And then the same thing with the defensive line. If it looks like they're in that 3-4, 4-3, who's standing up there on the outside, you say, well, who's going to replace, with it, I think we can all agree that's one of the big question marks that will have to be proven out for this team. Where are they going to get the production to replace Hutchinson and Ajabo? And 91 and 90, I would think, would be in the places of those guys. Talking about Hutchinson and Ajabo, that'll be Morris on the outside and Taylor Upshaw there to start, and Mozzie Smith on the inside. Mozzie, number 58, and then probably 94, Chris Jenkins next to him. That'd be the starting. Those would be the starters up front. So, you take a look. You do know that a guy like Rod Moore has missed the spring. He would be in there as a starter. So, you can. I'm not going into the press box. I'm going into the stadium, and I'm just going to take it in now. While I will be checking some numbers, and I will be making some notations for the most part. I'm just going to be kicking back and saying, "Hey, I want to know number 4 on this list. Give me some oohs and ahs. Who's oohing and who's on? As Keon Sabb, you look over there. Hey, who's coming up with that great pick? Who's coming up and jumping that route? Who's that ball hawk on the back on the Michigan defense coming up with the interception?" And you look and you say, "Oh, Keon Sabb. There you go." So those. The oohs and ahs, that's what I'm looking for. Who dat? I got my roster, where they're lining up, where. Taking a look. Also, nice to have that roster when that's happening. The true freshmen, identifying them, and just to see how they look in the maize and blue. It's always interesting to me. This happens at every level of football. I guess I can't say in high school, besides my own experience. So it's just college. You'll see tape of these guys that when they were in high school, and you'll say, this guy looks like so-and-so, and then you just see them in the maize and blue, and they look different. It can be just the way the uniform fits, just how they look at it, the weight they've gained. It's funny that way. And the same thing is true once they go to college to pro. You can see a guy for 3-4 years at Michigan, go to the games, heck, you can meet the guy, and then they'll go to the pros, and you see him in a different uniform. He's like, wow, that guy looks different, and it is different colors, different all kinds of different things. Maybe they bulk up there too, but just to see how these guys look, the freshmen coming in, because we've only seen them in those high school unis, and maybe anybody else that stands out. Like you're like, wow, who's that guy? Oh, that's Rayshon Benny. Sometimes they pass the look test, so that would be one thing to look at. Quick note, you see up here on the screen, Valiant VMG, Valiant Management. I want to thank those guys for giving us our top 2 prizes in the TMBR Survivor Pool. Thanks to Jared Wangler, who gave us the prizes for the winners. They're Hale_Blue and Blue Orion. I think 29 is his handle for Blue Orion for sure. But thanks for the Michigan versus everybody gear. And I just did. See if I secured the bag today. I went to get the prizes, and I saw Jared here, and I told him I was going to wear this. I don't know how it would look if I'm sitting here, but here's one of the prizes that are going out there, the Michigan versus everybody hat that I was able to get. I thought that it looked better right here on the desk than it would on my head, at least right now. So there it is, and there it sits. But thanks to Jared. And speaking of the spring game and Valiant, Jared had told me when I talked to him today, I asked him if he's going to the spring game. Of course he's going to the spring game. Valiant, they are hosting Wangler and Company, the inaugural Meet the Team event tomorrow. If you didn't know about this, I didn't know about it. So tomorrow, in conjunction with the spring game, select members of the football team, they're going to be available for a meet and greet approximately 90 minutes following the game. Valiant MGMT will be generating revenue from this event for members of the team by offering public ticket sales and sponsorship opportunities. So you want to check that out. That's over at the, the Oosterbaan Fieldhouse. Is that right there? Is that right where where you get the track and field? Oosterbaan is right there. I'm what am I, 99% sure on that? You can tell me if I'm wrong. Somebody watching like, no, that's not Oosterbaan. Are you crazy? That's the track and field building. No, I know where the track and field building is. Oosterbaan, is it the CCRB? No, that's the Oosterbaan is right there where where I believe the Jesse Owens track is, right? It's a good looking building. So At least that's the best of my knowledge. But you can check that out on their website if you want to meet the team. I would assume autographs. If you're a meet and greet, get over there 90 minutes after the game. Saunter on over to the Oosterman Fieldhouse. Check that out. And tell Jared you heard it on the Afternoon Live. That's what you need to do. They say, you know what? We didn't know what we were going to do. We were going to go hang out in Ann Arbor and everything. But then we decided, hey, let's go hang out with the team. Bithian said the Afternoon Live show that you guys were going to be over there. And hey, we were able to get a picture with J.J. McCarthy. How about that? So tell him the Maize and Blue Review Afternoon Live sent you. So there you go. All right, let's continue on talking about the spring game here. This, if you're looking for some controversy, you don't have to go any further than Jim Harbaugh and Colin Kaepernick, two live wires, two guys that are known to get an argument going, to get people, firing off on all sides. And so you'll have both of those guys tomorrow at Michigan Stadium. If you wanted to hear more on my opinions on Kaepernick and in an extended version, yesterday I talked about it for about 10 minutes. The updated news here, while I'm putting it on the screen and talking about it, I did not know this yesterday, that Cap is expected to throw to free agent wide receivers at the game. I think it's at a halftime. I didn't know there'd be a halftime to the spring game, but apparently there will be a halftime, and Kaepernick will throw some footballs out there. So my view on that is that wherever, if you don't watch the spring game, if you don't listen to the spring game, if you don't go to the spring game and you just watch on TV, wherever it's going to be local news or national news, they'll say, yeah, Michigan had their spring game, and there's their honorary captain, Kaepernick, and they'll show him throwing the football around in the halftime to whatever wide receivers are there. I'll give you that guarantee right now. So you say, well, that'll be interesting. Hey, I've seen a lot of halftime entertainment. Sometimes there's nothing, going on. A band is fine. Hockey, the old Scoro, basketball, they've got a bunch of different things. Quick change, dogs running around. This time we'll see a former NFL quarterback throwing footballs. It's a spring game. Not that bad. Antoine coming up with the question of the day. So am I rooting for the Blue or Maize? And did I look at the Raylan Wilson film? He is a monster linebacker. Antoine, I did look at the Raylan Wilson film, and you are right. You watch Wilson and you come away impressed. He looks like he could, he's going into his senior year. If you told me that this was a guy that could start for Michigan next year, he looks like a senior in college, and he looks like he's ready to play right now. So yeah, it is very impressive. Am I rooting for the Blue? Am I rooting for the Maize? Good question. So if you're rooting for Michigan, I'm rooting for excitement. I put in on the page here, the oohs and ahs. I want to see great catches. I want to see great plays by some defenders. You don't get the full on contact. So like when you say a defensive end, let's say it's Derek Moore, who I talked about, you see him burning off the engine, getting to the quarterback. It's not like he's going to grab Kate McNamara and snatch him down, to the ground. But you can see maybe some of that athleticism of him getting around the edge. Antoine, the one thing about spring games, it cuts both ways. If you get out there and you say, oh man, the defense was unstoppable, this is going to be awesome. The defense was just, pulverizing the offensive line. They were getting into the backfield. The offense couldn't move at all. And then you say, wait a second, that's good for the defense, but Michigan's offensive line was a turnstile. So there's always that give and take. And then if you're like, let's say Cornelius Johnson, beat somebody for a 76-yard touchdown, like Johnson looked good. McNamara really threw that one out there. And you're like, ooh, but what about the defensive back that got burned? Sometimes you hope that maybe it's a walk-on that he's going against. And then when you score, you say, well, it was just against a walk-on or something. So there's a lot of different things that you got to put in there. I think you do look for arm strength and accuracy. I think we'll be looking at Kate McNamara. He's expected to throw the ball a lot more this year. not just Johnson over there, but a host of wide receivers. This Michigan offense with their wide receivers they got coming back, and the ones they got coming in, and the addition of Ronnie Bell. And you look at the tight ends who's coming back there, and the guys that they have. They've got pass catchers galore, and this should be an offense that puts the ball up more, and you're going to see more from Cade McNamara. So, seeing what McNamara, how he's slinging it, if it looks any different than he did last year, that arm angle, if he's coming over the top any differently, does he have the zip on the ball? All of those kind of things that I would be identifying and looking at. Here's Antoine. He's talking about Cap. Let's see. Why would you bring Cap there? He's so fake. The dude literally said football is slavery, but yet he's still trying to get back into the league. Well, if you take Cap at if you nitpick Cap, you can come away. Everybody's going to have their opinion on him. To me, I think, is it a bottom line? It is. It was a profound move that I will remember forever. What happened back in 2016 in the exhibition season when he did take a knee, it made me change my views. It altered just the conversation. Made me alter how I looked at the anthem and all kinds of different things. Gave me empathy for my friends, for Black America. I mean, all of those things. But yeah. My dad was a police officer. Did I think, seeing pictures of Cap wearing pig socks, did I think that, that was demeaning towards police? Yeah. Did I think that, Cap wearing a Fidel Castro shirt is something that's demeaning to Cubans? Not just demeaning, like, one of the worst human beings in the world ever, in Castro. And everything that that he stood for, yeah, but Cap was like, well, he also did some things that were good literacy, from a literacy standpoint. Okay, yeah, he was also one of the worst humans in history. So yeah, is that a good look? For Cap, there's probably another 4 or 5 things like you're talking about. You'd say, I don't know if the Cap is the best, the person that you're going to look to and everything else. He wasn't the perfect quarterback for this particular protest, but I don't know, going back, how many guys really are, that kind of thing. So I don't know. I don't know where his heart actually is on all of it. I think it is in a good spot that he was able to profit off of it, by going back and being able to get a settlement with the NFL and collusion and all of that. Do I think he really wants to come back in the NFL? I don't know about all those things. Do I think it's okay? Can you be can you stand for something and have a protest and then still benefit off it financially? Yeah, sure. He did. So all of that. Antoine saying he hears Cade is quarterbacking for both sides for a few sessions, and then they'll turn it over to the backups. Yeah, that's why it doesn't matter. Maize, Blue, individual plays. The team sometimes they'll offer up steaks to the winners and hot dogs for the losers. So it might be a little bit different there. Antoine's looking for Andrew Anthony to have a breakout year. I could see that. Antoine says Kaepernick's being used by the establishment. He's a pawn in a game that powers that be. These are not his views. He's even been bought and sold for by Nike. Yeah, like I said, the original protest and what he said it was for, drawing awareness to police brutality. I'll take him at his word for that. Afterwards, does it mean you can't profit from something, from your own name, image, and likeness, even at the pro level, getting a deal with Nike? That doesn't mean he's a horrible person, just like it doesn't mean that he wore the Castro shirt or the pig socks or anything else. That's the thing that goes in here. You could say, hey, that's just Harbaugh's a quarterback. Let's leave it alone. But people are not leaving it alone. It's all of the things. Kaepernick's got a lot of different things that swirl around him. Just like, at times, people will charge Harbaugh with that. Harbaugh's got a million things going on here. Why can't he just coach football? Why couldn't Kaepernick just play football? It's different. Oh, Antoine with a lot of different points here. We'll get him his last one up here. He says, if you ask Kaepernick some questions, I'm willing to bet he probably won't be able to answer. It's literally, he's a billboard for the globalists. Yeah, I don't understand that one. I've heard Kaepernick talk a couple different times. He makes sense to me. And all that, like I said, I don't think he's the perfect representative for the people in police brutality and all of that. But he made a point. He got a conversation going. He's going to go down in history where we will remember him. Doesn't matter how old you and I will get Antoine in 10, 20, 30, 40 years, people will still talk about Colin Kaepernick. So, and I know for as long as I live, there's a few things working in sports radio for, 26 years. I can remember the day Kobe Bryant died, the Sunday of that helicopter crash. I was working from 2 to 6. I was on by myself, and that happened in the first hour of the broadcast. I remember the night before Colin Kaepernick took the knee on a Friday night in exhibition football. And I knew that was, I remember the Michigan State when they had their Larry Nassar situation. That happened on a Friday. I knew the entire weekend I was going to be dealing with that. I go back to 9/11, which was took place on a Tuesday morning. I was doing an afternoon show back then, but the night before I was in Ann Arbor at a hotel hosting a Monday Night Football watch party. I think the 49ers and Broncos, or was it the Giants and Broncos? It feels like the 49ers, Broncos, and Giants were involved, but obviously all three couldn't have been. But yeah, I remember waking up the next morning. So, like the point to that is that I'm going to remember Kaepernick and that Friday night exhibition game and what he did, for the rest of my life. We'll see if this just goes just smoothly, if it's just a former quarterback making some throws, if he's going to talk to the media afterwards, if there's going to be any protests that the Michigan players may get involved with. I mean, I would think going in, since I don't have the structure of what's going on here with like any anthem that would be played. I mentioned yesterday, I don't remember if anthems are played or not. It's been a few years since I've been to a spring game, so I don't recall that. So, and then, I haven't heard of anything of any planned protest or the players being involved or coaches. If Kaepernick's going to be involved after the spring game, if he is going to talk, certainly Jim Harbaugh. I believe, most coaches, I say this, I'm not sure that Harbaugh will be available afterwards, but I think Harbaugh is going to be available afterwards to talk about his team. And he will be asked about Kaepernick, and he might just say, yeah, it went great. Threw the ball. It was nice. He talked with the team. And any other questions, so it could be something small, could be something big. We'll see. With Cap involved and Harbaugh, stay tuned. It is part of it. So there it is, talking about a Cap again. Let's get some pictures and videos up here as a spring primer. But first, I've got the updated weather report that I looked at myself here. I'm going to try to get into, let's see, I'm leaving the studio here at around 10:30. Take me about 20 minutes, maybe a 20-minute walk. So that gets me 10:50, 11:10. I'm going to be in the stadium, I'm estimating at 11:10. And then over the next 20 minutes, I'm guessing I'll see some players trickling out, with everybody being in there between 11:30 and 12. And then I am not going into the tailgate. I am not tailgating. I'm doing a podcast tomorrow after the game. If I wasn't doing a podcast, would I have made some calls and maybe got down and found out where some people are at and done an all day 7 a.m. till 3 or 4 in the afternoon tailgating down in Ann Arbor, and then getting back home somehow safely so I could watch, what are we talking about, the Final Four, a little bit after 6 o'clock, so then I can watch 5 hours of college basketball. That'd be a heck of a day. That'd be a heck of a day. Could I handle 7 a.m. till 4 tailgating, 2-hour break, Final Four? I might not make the nightcap. That's going to be tough to do. That would be tough. But so I'm eliminating the tailgating part. I will be watching the Final Four tomorrow. It is on TV. I will be taping that. It is on the radio. My wife might be coming with me, so I'm not sure she's going to appreciate me, just sitting there listening to the radio if we're there together watching the game. So it might just be going back later on sometime Sunday and watching whatever the Big Ten coverage is. The temperature has been adjusted a little bit. They were calling for a high earlier in the week of up to 48 with a low of 34. I've adjusted that, a high of 45 with it being 43 degrees. And, a pretty similar type of weather of what you're feeling out there. Wasn't all that bad out there. So it was just snowing a little bit as I was driving, but let's see. Earlier it said it felt like 23 degrees. Now 35 feels like 25. This is the kind of weather I think, expect with 10-mile-an-hour winds. You're not going to have the high yet. I'm going to say it's going to feel like 30 degrees, 28 to 32 degrees out there. So dress appropriately. And if you're walking in 32-degree weather, it's a lot different than then sitting for an hour or two. It makes it feel like drop another 10 degrees on that. So it could, it's not the greatest weather. We'll say that. But if you're planning on going anyways, that'll keep the crowd down a little bit when you get the chill like that. So there you go. That's where I'm at with the notifications for the spring game. A couple other things to point out to you. We've got some photos and a video for you. Let's look at some of the pictures. I just saw the Michigan football Twitter was putting out some pictures yesterday of some of the players. You know who that is? Number 25 for Michigan. He played as a true freshman, a linebacker. That is Junior Colson. Looking right there. Probably just took a swipe at the quarterback and now is going in as a pass rusher. I'm just making that part up. I have no idea. Let's look at picture number 2. This is a defensive back. That's a good photo. Be honest there. That is a good photo. That is number 7. On offense, that would be easy because you could just say that was Donovan Edwards. But that is not Donovan Edwards. That is a safety and projected to be Michigan's starting strong safety on September the 3rd against Colorado State. That is Makari Page, number 7. I'm going to go ahead. And again, this is spring. We understand about he looks pretty good in his Michigan uniform. That's what I'm going to say about Makari Page. Do we have more pictures here? We do. Who's number 6 in the maze? I don't know if I can make out. I know there's a 2 there. Could I make out which defensive back that is for Michigan with just a 2? That could be, I can't really see the hair there. Could be Jymon Green. He's 22. Could be one of those, I don't know, like a Will Johnson or a Cody Jones. If I had to guess, I'd put my money on Jymon Green. But number 6, that's Cornelius Johnson there securing the ball and going ahead and making a catch. Watch out where that foot goes. That can hurt. But yeah, there he is, Kojo. Hey, how's Cornelius Johnson looking? I'll tell you what, he looks good. He looks ripped. Catching the ball there at spring. That's some of the stuff that you say when you take a look at just some of the still photos. You want video? Let's see. Also, they put a 2-minute video up. Michigan football team did. Give you a little play-by-play on it. Let's blow the entire video up. This is from the Michigan football Twitter page. This is what the Wolverines here. Oh, one arm row. Passers. Yeah. It's just on Monday, a little weightlifting. Hey, heading to 7-Eleven. Maybe they have that right there. 41. Hill Green, Mackay Hill Green. Keegan. Roman Wilson. Water break. This Tuesday. Video game Wednesday? Let's play some video. This is Roman Wilson again. Wait a second. Shuffleboard Wednesday? All right. Thursday, that looks like Schembecker Hall. Put that stretch in. I don't know who that was. There's Jerome Moore. Michael Barrett. Number 3 in Amazing Blue. That was one of the freshman wide receivers. Hey. Eric All. Look like an interception. Saturday, cooking going on there. Back to Schembeckler Hall. That's upstairs. These guys get a day off. Maybe that's what Wednesday was. Sunday in the field. That was I think that was Rayshon Penny. Back here, throwing the ball out there. There it is. Could go through that all again. I'm just going to put a stop to it there. All right, that was the video from the Michigan football team. A lot of different things to go through, trying to identify. What number is I'm asking. I'm going to consult. I think AJ Henning, who I'm surprised I don't have on my 2 deep here, but I'm just going to have to look. I think what we were looking at there, catching those passes there in that video, was AJ Henning, number 3. There you go. Keon Sabb wearing number 3 as well as the freshman. Just some of the notables. If you're like, I'm just going down and sitting in the stands, I'm not bringing a roster. I'll find out who the oohs and ahs are later. I'm just going to enjoy myself in the company of whoever I come down there with after tailgating. I'm good with all of that. Darius Clemens. I'll just give you some numbers to take a look at. Darius Clemens, 6'3", 205. True freshman, in for spring, wears number 0. I just mentioned Will Johnson wears number 2. It would be one that I would want to take a look at, a 5-star corner. AJ Henning, I just mentioned, wearing number 3, along with Keon Sabb. Amarian Walker, true freshman, in for spring. He'll wear number 4. Looking through here, I mean, Derek Moore, who I mentioned, is a defensive end, wearing the number 8. I think if you remember anything, if you're watching this and you're going to the spring game and you're sitting in the stands, you'll see an outside linebacker, defensive end, getting up the field, and somebody will say, wonder who that is, wearing number 8. You'll say, one thing I remember, Ithian said Derek Moore was wearing number 8. Number 8, the new quarterback's Alec Orgy wearing 10. Looking through some of the other numbers here. That's on just the first page that I have. Let's go through the second page. There's only 4 pages. Giving you some more numbers here to just take a look at. Braden McGregor staying with 17. I wondered if he would do that or not. Miles Pollard, the true freshman that's in for spring that I mentioned earlier, wearing 24. Somebody to keep an eye on, take a look out for, get some of the bigger numbers. Page 3 here, if I can get to it. I can. Here it is. Some of the other numbers just to think about and take a look at some of these guys. Trente Jones, I mentioned, he's wearing 53. Michigan's new center, Olo Atimi, double nickel, 55. And now we get to the last page here of some guys that you might want to take a look at. It looked like the first page is the big names. Chris Jenkins stays with 94, Mike Morris 90. And I think that's it. I think that first page is the one that you want. That's the big one, those single digits. Again, Derek Moore, 8, Keon Sabb, 3, Will Johnson, number 2. So there you go. Those are the numbers. That is the video, this programming reminder that I am going to that game. I've mentioned that like 10 times now. Afterwards, I'll be making my way back here to the studio. I will contact some members of the Maize and Blue Review staff and see if anybody wants to jump on. I am estimating at around 4-ish that I'll give you the lowdown as I saw it. I will have not watched the TV coverage at that point. I will just have rely on what I see down there with my own 2 eyes. But have a great time tomorrow. It's a great weekend for sports. It's a great Final Four matchup. Yeah, it would be 100 times better if Michigan was in it. But the Blue Bloods, by the way, I'm going to go ahead and give my picks now. I am taking both of the favorites. So that means I am taking Kansas -4, and I'm also taking Duke -4. It's weird when Duke, my family's from Arkansas, and when Duke was playing Arkansas, I thought, well, let's bet this game. So I thought, well, I think Duke's going to win this one. I've watched Arkansas play a few times this year. But, I didn't want to bet because I didn't want to root for Duke. Didn't want to root for him. By betting on him, I would have started rooting for him. I don't. That's my phone or my watch answering my questions again. I don't want to root for Duke tomorrow, but I do think they're going to win. So that's that. So I think we're going to have on Monday night a Duke Kansas championship game in whatever way you want to do it. If it's Villanova Carolina, Villanova Duke, the different possibilities there. One thing we know is that we're going to get a great championship night, however it shakes out, with great coaches, Blue Bloods there in all 4 spots, so you can't lose if you're a college basketball fan. Like I said, 100 times better if Michigan was there. But maybe next year, right? All right, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you tomorrow. I'm around the 4 o'clock hour after the spring game. See you then.